Two.
And I'm listening to a meeting, but I don't know if you cannot talk. At the same time. No, we. Leave. 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 Those words are not accepted around the food. Okay?
Hello, everyone. Everybody's looking so sharp. I will be making an introduction very soon, okay? Just give it a few minutes so that we can get more people logged in. If I can ask everyone also to mute themselves. And we're gonna be giving you the opportunity to do questions at the end, a little bit. All right. I think we have a lot of people signed in already. Thank you so much for participating. We're so excited to give you the opportunity to train with us on this, you know. Grant Cardone is the platform that we use, and we train on it on a daily basis, and it has given us the opportunity to, you know, to sharpen our sales skills, because we all know we do this with a lot of passion, but I think it's learning and growing is always good, right? So it's with all my pleasure that I'm gonna introduce Mike Shields. He's gonna be our guest speaker for today. I hope that you guys enjoy and make some really good notes. The way it's gonna work, we're gonna do a series of 3 for these trainings. And the 4th one is gonna be an open floor format where you guys are gonna be able to ask additional questions. Enjoy. Take it over, Mike.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. How's everybody doing over there today? Pretty good? Everybody doing all right? I love it. I absolutely love it. We've got, we've got an incredible amount of people who are hopping in. For anybody who's going to join us, I'm excited at the opportunity. We're going to get people trickling on in as we're getting this thing rolling. But I appreciate, Ms. Wendy, I appreciate that introduction. My name is Mike, working alongside Grant Cardone. For those who don't know who Grant Cardone is, New York Times bestselling author, top 5 Forbes lister, international sales trainer. We work with hundreds and thousands of different companies and their respective sales teams and executives as far as increasing revenue, right? Making more money, right? And teaching people how to actually do that. So the purpose of these calls, I think we're doing about a series of 3 to 4, is to highlight and demonstrate some strategies throughout the sales process that are going to work during today's time, right? So with that being said, if you have any questions or concerns, I mean, reach out to us. You can say your questions in the chat. For any single person who's calling in from their cell phone, I absolutely love it, from Santiago to Camilo to Tim to Diana to Mark to Edison. If you all do have the ability to get in front of a computer screen and show yourselves, that'd be huge. If not, no worries. If you are calling from a cell phone, though, and you do have a question, still please utilize the chat. That would be incredible. That would be incredible to do so we get some strong interaction here, right? So first things first, what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about today are a couple key things, right? A couple key things in regards to the sales process. But first, we're going to do an incredible exercise that is something that we have to do at Grant Cardone's all the time to get us more psyched about what it is that we do on a day-to-day basis, okay? So first things first, by a show of hands of the people who I can see, right? Who right now is having to deal with what's currently going out there and that's affecting their day-to-day, right? By a show of hands. I'll raise my hand right now. I need help. I'm operating remotely right now in the comfort of my home. Yes. If you can't put it in the chat, yes, say I am. That's me. I'm being affected, right? And I'm seeing some people write that in here. The cool thing about it is that every single person in the entire planet right now, more so than ever before, is dealing with the exact same thing. It's actually kind of cool to realize that you can call China right now. You could call Egypt. You could call Lithuania. You could call Bulgaria. You could call Russia. And then you could call Mobile, Alabama. And every single person that you talk to is dealing with the exact same thing. It's absolutely incredible. So with that being said, we've got to use that as a way to move forward in conversation. But before we move forward in conversation, we have to figure out what our purpose is, right? We've got to figure out what our purpose is. If we don't have a purpose as to why we do what we do on a continual basis, especially during this time, if we don't have that why, man, it's night and day as far as your execution. So what I want to do first is I want everybody to write down the word goals on the top of their sheet of paper. Just write down the word goals. Everybody, right? I see some people raising their hand. I'll get to you here in a second. Thank you, Kayla, Angie, Miss Lauren, John O, Mark. Awesome. We've got a lot of people saying yes. So first write down the word goals, okay? Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write down this. I want you to write down 2 goals that you're looking to accomplish within the workplace by the end of this year. 2 goals you're looking to accomplish within the workplace by the end of this year. Whatever entity, whatever business, whatever you're affiliated with, what are 2 goals that you yourself are looking to accomplish within the workplace by the end of this year? I'm going to leave you the next 25 seconds to go ahead and jot that down. It could be to bring in a certain amount of revenue to the organization. Maybe it's to close on so many new additional clients per month, right? Maybe it's to have the upstat of 30% quarter over quarter as we get deeper into 2020. I don't know what it is for you. There's no right or wrong answer, right? But let's get 2 goals we're looking to accomplish within the workplace by the end of this year. We're going to leave the next 10 to 15 seconds to go ahead and jot that down, and then we'll move on to the next step. Again, 2 goals we're looking to accomplish within the workplace by the end of this year. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And as we wrap that up, listen, if you're not done, please finish that thought process out. This is majorly important. What I want you to do after that is I want you to write down this. I want you to write down 2 goals you're looking to accomplish outside of the workplace by the end of this year. Outside of the workplace by the end of this year. What are you looking to do, right? How much money are you looking to put aside if that's a goal or an objective? What are you looking to do to contribute to the community? Right? Maybe it's to get your kid on to private school, to set enough money aside to get your kid into private school. I don't know what it is to you. For you, there's no right or wrong answer. But what are 2 goals you're looking to accomplish outside of the workplace by the end of this year? I'm going to leave you the next 10 to 15 seconds to go ahead and jot that down. I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for doing this. Just 2 more things we're going to write down here before we take a little break. And and to listen to some content here, the next thing I want you to do is this. I want you to write down one familial goal. And yes, I said something within the family, something you're looking to accomplish within the family. We all have families, from Kayla to Michelle to Miss Rachel Davis to Cynthia to Juan D to Alyssa Stephs, I believe, right? We all have families. What's one thing we're looking to accomplish within the family by the end of this year? What we believe in here, and some of the individuals on this program who are familiar with myself and the Cardone brand, what we believe in is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And especially during this time, if you don't have your stuff together within your four walls you call home, you probably don't have your stuff together at work and how you're executing. So what's one thing you're looking to accomplish within the family, right? Go ahead and jot that down here real quick.
Yeah, but she didn't answer your text.
Instacart has to.
We got 10 more seconds to go ahead and jot that down. Just 10 more seconds. Jot that down, and we got one last thing we're gonna jump on here next. Welcome, Tim. Welcome, Tim. We see you, brother. Welcome. The very last thing we're gonna jot down is this. We're gonna write down that one big time goal. And again, real quick, for any single person who's in front of a laptop, if you have the ability to log on to this thing and show yourselves for your video, we've got a ton of people who are doing so as far as interacting and just getting this chat going, right? This is a community, right? To be able to exchange information and network is going to be huge during this entire process over the next several weeks. So make sure if you have that capability, you can do so. What I want you all to write down next is this. I want you to write down that one big time goal, right? So it's probably not something you're going to accomplish today. You're not going to accomplish it tomorrow. You're probably not going to accomplish it this week, next month, or next year. But a one big time goal. So again, what I'm writing down every day is to be a New York Times bestselling author, on the cover of Forbes magazine, worth $4 billion, living in downtown New York, and able to provide 10 million foster kids with homes because I was a systems kid growing up, right? That's the purpose and that's the why. So what is your why, right? What is your why, Miss Cheryl? Go ahead and jot that down. Juan, what is your actual why, right? Brandon, Edison, Diana, Rodrigo, Lauren, what is your big goal? What does that end goal look like? When you can actually say that you accomplished it, you can say you did something, right? Now, there's no right or wrong answer here. But it is important to realize what that purpose is. So go ahead and take the next 30 seconds to jot that down.
I don't know.
Not storing meat.
Excellent. So thank you for doing that exercise. And the reason why I asked every single person to do that exercise, and I'm going to ask them if you are on this thing, to place yourself on mute. If you're on this, to place yourself on mute. So Miss Melissa March Gallant, place yourself on mute, please. Right. So the reason why I asked you guys to do this, ask every single person on this call to do this, is purpose today more so than ever before is going to be one of the #1 contributors to us penetrating the marketplace, right? We're dealing with a ton of resistance and an incredible amount of uncertainty at this point more so than ever before. And it is very, 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 very easy to get discouraged by that uncertainty, by that lack of commitment by others, by the not knowing what's going to happen next. And what I'm doing and what we're doing and what some of our team members, people within our family, the 10X family, are doing is we're making sure that the reason as to why we're waking up in the morning is in front of us.
Not a great picture.
We're making sure that
like there's some reflection or something on it, but
No, Mike.
Okay, how about now? You can hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, beautiful. You can hear me now. So you got to realize that that's the reason why you're pushing. If we don't have our targets, if we don't have our goals, and that's not in front of us on a consistent basis, right? I don't care who you are. I'll tell you what, the New England Patriots, let's say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now that they got Tom Brady, I guarantee you that their goal is to win a Super Bowl, and they've got the area of focus on that, which is the reason why, with the addition of Gronkowski and somebody else, they may win one, right? But it's very hard to accomplish something if you don't have an area of focus on it. So what you have, write this down, what you have an area of focus on, you will achieve. What you have an area of focus on, you will achieve. And what you don't have an area of focus on, you will never achieve at all. Right? So make sure during this time specifically your attention units are on what it is that you're looking to accomplish, and it's the bigger picture. It's not the smaller picture, it's the bigger picture. It's not hearing that no. It's not hearing that I got to think about it. It's not hearing that, yeah, we're uncertain, call me back next month or next year, we'll see how this thing all blows over. That's not why you do what you do every single day. It's for the bigger purpose and the bigger reason. And so when I can attach my mindset to that, it makes what I'm doing every single day a whole lot damn easier to execute, right? Now that we have our purpose, right? Now that we have our purpose in front of us, what I'm going to do next is I want to move over to the next part of this presentation, which is going to be the only thing that matters in anything that you do is this one thing. And I want you guys to write down this one word. The word is a decision, right? Making a decision is the strongest thing any single person can do on this phone call. You can make a decision to eat ice cream tonight, or you can make a decision to eat vegetables and fruits. You can make a decision to, you can make a decision to be working remotely affecting you, or you can make a decision to allowing you being able to work at home and remote. You have the ability to grow, right? It's all about how you look at things. In the decision to do or to not to do, or the decision to think one way or another is the number one contributing factor to success, especially in today's marketplace. So my question for everybody here is, what decision have you made thus far? It's rhetorical. You don't necessarily have to blurt it out, but what decision have you made this far? Let's rewind 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, right? When all this craziness started. What decision did you make at that point when you started hearing about this stuff? Did you decide that it was going to affect you? Did you decide that it was going to be negative? Did you decide that it was going to pull you away from being who you know you can be, right? Or did you decide that this is an incredible opportunity to develop yourselves and connect with additional people, right? It's all about the decision. It's all about the decision. The question is, what decision have you made? Right? When you woke up this morning, what decision did you make? Did you wake up and decide to go to work, right? Decide to make 100 phone calls, decide to follow up with past clients, right? Or did you decide to turn on the news and listen to the negativity in the background, and then all of a sudden your morning looks completely different than the afternoon because you're surrounded by those negative thoughts? Like what decision did you make? And it's very important that you have to reset your decision. You have to reset your decision. Write that down. You must reset your decision. Because how I am mentally hour per hour, especially during this time, right? I mean, it can change. And I've got to be in control of that change. And I've also got to make a decision to get control of that change, if for whatever reason it should happen. So what decision did you make? Renata, what decision did you make? Mike, what decision did you make? Santiago, what decision did you make? Miss Jazz, what decision did you make? Jeffrey, what decision did you make today? And what decision are you going to make as we get deeper and deeper and deeper on into this? I love this. Santiago says, or Mike says, I decided to work harder and not slack. I love that, man. Why doesn't everybody, if you have the ability to put it in the chat, right? What decision did you make today? Right? Mike says, I decided to work harder and not slack. What other decisions did you make today? Right? It's important. it's important to realize what it is that you're looking to do. Right? Ms. Holly, she says, give clarity in times of uncertainty to build and maintain a high level of trust with my valued clients. That is incredible. That's incredible. I'm going to go off topic here, but the number one thing you guys can do right now, and you need to jot this down, the number one thing that you can do right now is focus on customer retention. The people who have said yes, but have yet to say when. Those are the people that we need to stay in front of more so than ever before, because if we aren't with them now, they're never going to be with us in the future. If we aren't with them now, they're never going to be with us in the future. Right? Miss S. Felder, she said, I decide I would live by faith, but also be proactive. Totally. I love that. I love that. Miss Cheryl Jones, I decided to take time to learn as much as I can about my niche. Huge. Right? You can either take this opportunity to become something, or you can take this opportunity to become nothing at all. Right? The people who are going to win when this thing is all over with are the people who are going to move forward and make something out of nothing. You can either do one or two things, y'all, right? You can either do nothing or you can do something. But I know for sure that doing something is probably 99 times out of 100 better than doing nothing. So that's the mindset that we need to be going in with. And it all starts with a decision, okay? So next what I want to do is I want to go into the sales process for right now. The sales process for present time, right? Right? By a show of hands for the people that I can see via video, how many of you guys follow a sales process? I know I do. Does anybody else follow a sales process? Good. I got several individuals raising their hand. If you want to put in the chat, to respond to that, I try to. Michelle Jones, I love it. I love it. I love it. Carissa says yes. I follow sales process. Angie says, yep, I do. Mike says I do. Right? I love it. I love it. Fernando Martinez says good. If you're not following the sales process, you're crazy. First things first. You got to have a process, especially during this time, because the process is going to equal consistency. And consistency is going to equal confidence. And confidence is going to equal deals. Very, very, very simple, right? Magnolia, I appreciate it. She's Yafa says Shojo says, I can improve the sales process, but she knows it's there. That's huge, right? The first part of the sales process, right? People may think it's the greeting or fact-finding or overcoming objections or presenting people ideas, facts, and figures, demoing what it is, right? And then closing. No. Everybody write this down. The first part of your sales process needs to be attitude. Attitude. The first part of your sales process is attitude, right? A great attitude is worth more than a great product. And right now, more so than ever before, you have to have a great attitude when you're getting in contact with your people. When you're getting in contact with your people, you have to have an incredible attitude. There is no price point that you can attach to an attitude, right? There's zero price. It's priceless, right? A great attitude, you can write this down, a great attitude is worth more than a great product. A great attitude is worth more than a great product, right? Just think about that for a second. I don't know about you, but you know, if I'm sitting on the fence as far as moving forward with something, right? And I'm talking to two different types of people, pricing is maybe the same, maybe one's more expensive, one's a little bit cheaper, right? But the person that I am drawn towards is the person that has a greater attitude. I'm moving forward with them, whether it's right now or whether it's in 2 to 3 months, right? You've got to have an incredible attitude. And right now, more so than ever before, we've got to approach every single situation with empathy and understanding, because everybody's dealing with what we're dealing with. So we can open up the gates and we can get in communication with people if we approach every single customer-facing situation as such, right? right? It's very, 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 very important. Holly, I see your question. I love that question. I'm actually gonna answer that here in a second. So I got you though. I got you. So a great attitude is worth more than a great product. Huge. Number two about a great attitude is you've got to treat every single person like they're a millionaire, like they can move forward, like they can buy. It's so important to do so. I couldn't tell you how many conversations I've gotten in with people who we treated them like they could buy, and maybe for some reason they thought they couldn't, but because of an attitude, because of an I can, because of a will to move forward, we figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Everybody's probably heard that several thousand times in their lives. But where there's a will, there's a way. But sometimes you've got to present that will and then go ahead and find that way. You can't give that to the end consumer, right? So you've got to treat everybody like they can move forward, like they can buy, like it is the right thing, like it will solve their problem. Okay? A great attitude cannot be beaten. And people will act according to attitude. People will act according to attitude, right? People will act according to attitude. So I'll tell you this, man. If I go into work and I have a crappy attitude, that day probably isn't going to be 100%, right? We all want to be 100% all the time, but if we haven't made a decision, first things first, to give it 100%, and our attitude is, oh man, you know what, I don't want to do this right now, right? What do you think our production is going to reflect? Now, it's the same exact thing when I am customer facing. I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard, I'm not interested, now's not the right time, right? Right? Call us back later. There's a ton of uncertainty out there, right? I don't know. I mean, if anybody else has heard those objections, you could say I have in the chat. It would be crazy if you haven't at this point, right? But if I'm using those objections to solidify my attitude, no, I'm going to fail. Your attitude is incredible right now. Incredible right now, right? And the cool thing is a positive attitude is contagious. A positive attitude is contagious. Right? So if we come in with certainty, and if we come in with understanding, if we come in with empathy, right? If we come in and solving a problem, and we do that with an incredible attitude, I can change somebody on a phone call to hell no, absolutely not, to, you know what? Yeah, let's take a look at some pricing. Let's take a look at some figures. Let's take a look at some offers. What's the difference between this package and this package? And if we were to move forward, what would be the best dates to move forward with in July? Right? You can literally move somebody through a hell no to an absolutely yes, just when, with a good attitude on a phone call. But you got to realize that an attitude is contagious. Incredibly, incredibly important. An attitude is contagious, right? Now, your daily attitude is going to require mental discipline. It's going to require mental discipline, y'all, right? It's going to require mental discipline. It's very, very, very hard to respond to negativity that's going on out there with great or super or that's excellent. I'll be happy to do that for you. Hey, what's going on? I'd like to postpone what we had planned out here next month due to the uncertainty, and we'll get back to you in regards to if we want to do this moving forward. You know, 9 times out of 10, the regular person's going to be like, how do I get them in? I don't know if I want to do that. And that's going to reflect your response. Great, happy, excellent. I'd be more than happy to get that done for you. Is there any other reason why you're reaching out to us, or is that the only reason today? Great, well, let's take a look at how we can not just cancel what we currently have on the books, but let's take a look at different options that we have in the future, because we know whether we're solving something today or we're solving something in the future, we're still going to solve that problem. That problem's still going to be available. You want to spend time with the family, and you want to go on a vacation, and you want to have this on your calendar, right? So let's not look at reasons why we can't do something. Let's look at reasons why we can. And if it's not now, great. But if it's later, so be it, right? Like that type of attitude and those type of responses, those have to be drilled and rehearsed, and you have to have a sense of discipline. right? A sense of discipline to say yes to everything. A sense of discipline to say yes to literally everything. I don't want to do this no more. Yes. Very hard to do that. Very hard to do that, right? But once we can build that muscle, man, we do a practical at Grants, right? And I challenge every single person on this phone call to do it. For the next 24 hours, try not to say no. For the next 24 hours, try not to say no. And go ahead and see if you can get past 1 hour. You know, half of you guys probably have kids just screaming around the house. They're not at school. Right. The next time little Bill walks up to you and says, "Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, can I have a piece of candy?" Try not to say no, and try to respond in a different way. Like, for real. Like, try that. Angie says, "I have a 3-year-old at home." Don't give them candy, but if the 3-year-old walks up to you and says, "Hey, Mom, give me candy." "Hey, I love that idea, ma'am. I love that idea. Let's get you an apple instead, because it's probably going to be a little bit more healthier, right? You want to be healthy, right? You want to grow up healthy and strong, right? Yeah, cool. Let's do the apple instead. Like, it's just a way of you communicate, and you got to build that muscle to be able to do that, right? Santiago says, like the Jim Carrey movie. I love it. I love it. That's exactly what it is. So great, super, excellent. I'd be happy to do that for you. Those are the type of responses that need to be drilled and rehearsed on a continual basis. Okay? Now, tips. Right now, this attitude thing is huge. Tips to have an incredible attitude. Number one, if you can do this, do this. Avoid the news in the newspaper. Because according to the news in the newspaper, I mean, we all got 24 hours left on this earth and it's over with, according to them. Obviously, that's not the case, right? But if you're only syncing up with negative content, man, that's gonna tarnish how you're getting in contact with people on a day-to-day basis, and what that's gonna do is that's gonna be directly proportional to the types of opportunities that you're able to throw into your funnel, right? So if you can at all costs avoid the newspaper and avoid the news, now of course you got to be up to date. You got to see what the heck's going on, right? I'm not going to lie to you. I got stock market going on right behind me. I love stocks. I love big business. I love hearing what's going on. That's huge. That's informative. Great. But all the craziness that's going on out there, man, shut it off, because that ain't helping you. That is not helping you in any way, shape, or form. That's only making you more uncertain. And if you're uncertain, then the buyer or your client is even more uncertain, right? Because they're hearing the same thing. So get rid of all that stuff. You don't need it. It's not really necessarily helping you, right? Number two is stay away from can't-do people. Cheryl says, does this mean I can't tell myself not to eat more cookies? Well, you can listen, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, right? But what I will tell you is, hey, fruit is better than cookies. We'll leave it at that. No, but number two, stay away from can't-do people. Stay away from can't-do people. Like, stay away from can't-do people. Now, especially during this time, I can either be next to somebody who's moving forward, who's pushing, who's penetrating the marketplace, who's operating at an incredible level, right? Or what I can do is I can call I don't really surround myself with these types of people, but for example, let's say I had a brother or sister who wasn't moving forward, who wasn't pushing it hard, right? And I was talking to them on a consistent basis. Well, if I had a negative brother or sister who's telling me, oh, woe is me, this is crazy, I'm just going to sit on the couch, you know what, let me hit Subway up, let me get some Lay's potato chips, a club sub, and you know what, I'm going to throw on FIFA and I'm going to play FIFA because there's nothing else for me to do right now. What do you think I'm going to do? How do you think I'm going to operate? How do you think I'm going to respond? Right? You've got to be aware of your surroundings right now. You got to be aware of your surroundings right now. Then you're a product of your environment. I mean, listen, that goes to analyzing your kids, analyzing your husband, analyzing your wife, analyzing your friends, analyzing who's within the four walls you call home. If people are saying can't, stop, don't do it, I'm just going to wait this thing out, man, you need to tell them to shut up. And it's got to be cold-hearted. Because remember, the reason why you're telling them to shut up is not because of the attitude, it's because of your purpose and the goals that you have written down on a sheet of paper. So if it feels weird to do that, just remember that would you rather tell somebody to stop being negative around you, or would you rather tell somebody when you're 80 or 90 years old that you didn't accomplish one thing that you set forth to accomplish when you were 20 or 30 or 40? I'd rather tell somebody shut up, man. I can't listen to bad news. I can't listen to I can't listen to wait. I can't listen to I got to think about it. I can't listen to I'm just going to wait this thing out. Anybody who says that, you got to tell them, hey, I love that. Don't ever say that next to me again. Right? And that's happening more so than ever before. So you've got to be on the lookout for that. Right? Number 3, get everybody on the same page. Everybody within your ecosystem, get everybody on the same page. Your household needs to be on the same page. Your clients, they need to be on the same page. The people you work with, they need to be on the same page. What are we working for? How are we moving forward? How are we executing? Every single person has to be on the same page around you. It's like a ball team, right? I just use ball. I use football, right? If every single person is on the same page to win a Super Bowl, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get deep in the playoffs. But if you got 1 or 2 bad apples, man, you may get 7 wins in a season, if that, right? Like it's the same exact thing. Every single person around you has to be on the same page. Every single person. So hold people accountable to doing that, because you are in total control of your own environment. You just got to take responsibility to do that and realize that that's your job to do that, right? Number 4, no negative talk, 0 negative talk. And then number 5, all thoughts, talks, and actions, throw them out the window. All negative thoughts, talks, and actions, throw them out the window. And again, I'm going back to the 24-hour no negativity talk. 24 hours of not saying no. Listen, I guarantee, just try that. I mean, if there's anything you take away from this, just try for 24 hours to not say no. 24 hours to not say no. That's all you got to do. We'll see how hard that is, right? And then you'll see how many times you say no and how much you're negative, or how many times you're negative. And then when you get on the phone with somebody and they're negative and you're thinking, well, why is that happening? Well, it's very hard to expect somebody not to do, right, what you're doing. It's very hard to do that. So what you're putting out there in the universe is coming back to you. Try saying yes for the next 24 hours, right? The very last thing I want to talk about here is the actual process. You've got to have a process. You've got to have consistency, especially during this time, okay? Your sales process, we've got the greeting. Sales process, we've got greeting, okay? Write that down. Sales process, we've got greeting. The next part of the sales process is probably going to be objections, right? We need to realize and we need to know what objections we're facing today. We need to write those down. We need to be aware of them, and we need to know what to say when they happen. Now, we'll get deeper into that on one of these next calls, but it's very, very, very important for you to actually realize that you're only getting through 2 or 3 or 4 similar objections, right? Right? Figure out how to overcome them. Write them down, analyze them. After you're done working, look at every single conversation that you had, see where those objections are taking place at, what people are saying, and try to position yourself to, number 1, be able to overcome that, and number 2, present and communicate in a fashion that you eliminate all those objections in the first place, right? Number 3 is going to be fact-finding. Fact-finding on the phone. If we're obviously we're not face-to-face, but we're phone, we're virtual. Your fact-finding phase of the process, right? Then what we have is we have our presentation. So our fact-finding, it goes fact-finding, then selection/presentation. We've got to place people on the right product. We've got to place people on the right service. We've got to put them in the right tier right? And or the right package based off what it is with our fact-finding questions, right? That's your responsibility to do so, right? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the trial close. We're gonna ask them for the business. Hey, what's the best thing you've seen so far, right? Hey, have you seen enough and heard enough to make a decision, right? Those are ideas. Those are strategies as far as trial closes. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't see value, or 1 being you wouldn't move forward, and 10 being you would move forward and you're ready to move forward today, where you at? Right? You got to have a series of trial closes to test the temperature and to test the water. Even if it's to set an appointment, even if it's to book something in the future, they still need to say yes, and you've got to get them to say yes, and that's your responsibility to move them down the sales process to ultimately say yes, right? And then, of course, we've got the write-up and the close, right? But that's not it. That's not the only part of the sales process. The other part of the sales process is follow-up, and that's exactly what we're doing today more so than ever before. Again, when I said on the initial point of contact, right? What I said on the initial point of contact here is that client retention is going to be one of the most important things you could do today. Yes, client activation, funneling new prospects, top line management of your funnel is equally important, but more so than ever before is client retention, because out of sight, out of mind, right? Out of sight, out of mind. People believe what they see and not what they hear. And if they don't see you every single day, providing value, providing options, consulting them, providing empathy, providing sympathy, if they don't see you, right, you're non-existent. Yet everybody's distracted right now more so than ever before, right? We're fighting distractions. So it's very, 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 very important to stay consistent in everybody's mind. So what I'm going to do before we wrap up this call here is I'm going to answer 1 or 2 questions. Monique, yes, I said the first part of the sales process was the greeting, but realistically, ladies and gentlemen, the real first part of the sales process is attitude. Attitude. Then greeting, then objections, then fact-finding, then selection and presentation or demonstration, and then trial close, and then the write-up, right? Very important. Very important. One of the other questions, Miss Holly, how do you keep a great attitude when you have to bring bad news to a client? Yeah, you may want to cancel the sale because of conflict. Yep. Or you may not want to rebook first week of June. That's as signs don't look good. Right. Well, first things first, Miss Holly, and everybody's dealing with that, right? I get it. I totally understand, right? How do you keep a great attitude when you have to bring up bad news? Well, that's real. Like when I'm dealing with people who are having to cancel or having to pause or so on and so forth, I'm not necessarily thinking that that's a negative thing, right? Pause, right? The biggest thing that we want to do right now is we don't want to cancel what's currently in our up and coming book of business, but we want to pause. We want to deflect it. We want to redirect it to a later time. The fact that we can not cancel and we can pause or we can set a different date, right? If June's not going to work, great. Let's get you booked in and let's at least get a down payment for July or August, or hell, let's do it in September or October, right? Like if they're telling you that, that means that they still want to do business with you. It just may not be today. That's a positive. That's not a negative. And you got to realize that's the mindset that you have to have. They're not saying no, they're just saying no now. So when I am saying, how do you keep a great attitude when you bring bad news to a client? They may want to cancel a sale because of the virus, or you may want to rebook for the first week of June. Listen, when somebody says, if somebody says, hey, I'd like to cancel, or hey, I'd like to rebook because June isn't looking too hot, excellent. What is the best second option for you to book this trip? Oh, it's probably going to be August. I love that. Hey, incredible selection. Listen, if you weren't going to do it in July, you weren't going to do it in June, I would tell you to do it in August. You want to know why? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have testimonials and case studies in front of me of people who have been on that same similar trip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight reasons why August may be equally as good as June, right? That's how I'm going to raise my attitude, and that's how I'm going to raise my certainty, right? On top of that, within the sales process, I'm going to attach myself to positive things. But outside of the sales process, man, it's the same situation, right? What's your thoughts? Who are you surrounding with? What's your environment look like? What do the actions look like? And if everything is positive, nothing's going to deter you to start thinking with negativity, right? So make sure when you're hearing some of these thoughts, and when you're hearing some of these people saying, you know what, I'd like to cancel, or you know what, I'd like to move this thing down. Hey, great. Hey, listen, if I was sitting in your shoes, I would probably be thinking the same thing too, right? Other than the fact that you're wanting to pause, or other than the fact that you're wanting to move this thing 2 months out because we're uncertain as far as what June looks like, right? Do you still believe that we're the right company, that we're the right service, and that you want to move forward with us? Hell yeah, let's do this. Just probably not in June. Great. So let's get you all the facts, the figures, the pricing, and the packages that we currently have available for those later months. Let's go ahead and put a down payment down, right? Let's go ahead and solidify you. And listen, we'll do business then, right? And then just work them in the sales process and fill your pipeline, right? Again, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So if they're saying yes, just not now, but later, man, I mean, now money is later money, right? If we can pull later money into now, great. But if we don't have the ability to do that, at least I know I'm setting myself up for an incredible production in the future, right? So I wanted to address a couple of those questions here. In the chat here, if you're getting something out of this presentation here today, I want you to put in I. Jazz, I appreciate you saying you're preaching, Mike. I appreciate that. If you're getting something within the chat here, I want you to say I. If you don't have the ability to write something in the chat, next time, man, get on a Zoom call, show your face. You want to see everybody's face here. I love it. We've got a ton of eyes and a ton of interaction. This is the stuff that you have to have an area of focus on right now, because if you don't, you're just gonna fall into that trap that everybody else is falling into. I know at Grant Cardone's, we're having one of the highest profiting months of all time, right? We're pushing out like, bro, I couldn't even tell you how much more work, extra work that I'm doing to manage what I currently have going, to make sure not everybody cancels, and to reach out to the marketplace and get initial opportunities, right? But you got to realize that now is the time, and now is the time to be an absolute savage. And when I say savage, I mean a person who is there for their people and who's there to take advantage of any additional opportunity that's out there. And if somebody raises their hand right now in this economy, you better close them, or you better put them in your book of business to follow up, right? Because if they're raising their hand now, they were for sure raising their hand before all this. So realize and act, or recognize that. Act now and be ready. Travel will return. That's awesome. Hey, that should be written on your walls, and that should be written in front of you on your computer screens on a little sticky note. Act now and be ready. Travel will return. That's right. Travel ain't going nowhere. Travel is literally not going anywhere. I mean, we all have to travel every single day. If you got to go to the grocery store, you got to travel. Like, travel ain't going nowhere. Travel is going nowhere, right? So it's just important that you realize that when it does return at the capacity of which we're all involved in it, right, that you're the first person people are willing to move forward with. Awesome. So I definitely appreciate the time here today. We're going to do a couple of these. Thank you, Miss Wendy. Miss Wendy, one of the individuals that put this together, said to be happy to send the notes on process and attitude to everyone. So, exchange notes, interact with people, right? This networking opportunity is huge within this chat. What I want to do is I want to turn it over back to the one and only Miss Wendy to wrap it up. But I look forward to doing this thing here next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. And I look forward to what's to come. Miss Wendy, it's on you. I appreciate you.
Hi, guys. I think that was really refreshing. I hope that you got some of Mike's energy, which I love so much. I'll send a follow-up email because I have all of your registrations with the notes on the processes and it's a good reminder. We're going to have, like I said, a session of question and answers, and that's going to happen in 3 weeks. So that's, if you have any additional questions, write it down, and we'll cover it then. Other than that, have a really good week. Keep up the good attitude, no negativity allowed, and thanks for joining.
I have a question for Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
So the 6 phases that you talked about, greeting, objections, fact finding, etc. Are you going to be going over those specifically in the next courses?
Yeah. So we are going to go deeper into each and every one of those. I love that. That's a great question. We'll go deeper into each and every one of those, just some strategies and techniques to better operate there, and how you can transition quickly through a sales process. Time is money. Speed is everything. You don't want to overlook what people are saying to you, but you also don't want to stay in one process of the sale too long and get stuck there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like driving from place to place to place to place. So,
and especially
exactly.
if you're trying to find energy in order to close a sale, and things are gloomy, it's important to have a very clear process in your head, and have a very clear in your head also that you might not feel like it, but stick with discipline and good attitude, and eventually it's gonna flow again, right? All right.
Exactly.
I have to jump off, guys. Thanks so much. See you next week. Hopefully, all of you.
Thank you, Wendy.
We'll see you. Make sure you're in front of your computer next time. Make sure you're in front of your computer next time. We'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Mike.
Bye, guys.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Not his thing. Oh.